Hey guys, I am so incredibly excited and grateful today because I am joined by Katy Ursta and Melanie Mitro. These ladies are absolutely incredible rock stars. I've been following them for quite some time, and they now have the Chic Influencer, their brand, and the Make Chic Happen podcast. And I am just so grateful that they are here to be able to share some of their incredible wisdom. So guys, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Yep,
Yeah.
we're so excited.
Awesome. So for those people who maybe don't know you guys, I would love for you to share a little bit about how you came together to create this brand today.
Perfect. So I actually think it goes back to college. Melanie and I were in the same sorority in college, but at the time, she was a little bit older than me. And so she had a boyfriend. So we never got to know each other very, very well. But a few years later, after we were married and had our first kiddos, I saw Melanie in a restaurant and she just looked like a boss. I mean, she was answering her I think it was a flip phone at the time, and she was walking out and you could tell she just looked like a woman on a mission. And so I went onto Facebook, was doing something that had to do with health and fitness, and it looked like she was doing work that was done on social media, and it had something to do with health and fitness, but I wasn't quite connecting what it was all about. I was a full-time teacher. I taught 7th grade reading, and I was just looking for a little side income. And so I reached out to her, and I don't think I signed up right away. It's really hard to recall now because that was over 7 years ago, maybe closer to 8 years ago. And at the time, I wanted to get the groceries paid for. And so I signed up as a network marketer in Melanie's organization at the time. I had no idea what network marketing even was. I just knew that she looked like she was happy. She looked like she was healthy, and it looked like she was genuinely enjoying what she was doing while making an income doing it. And so I saw that as an opportunity. And for the past 8 years, we've just been working together, growing our organizations in network marketing. And we started to just get asked by many, many people, like how do you grow? How do you scale? How do you balance a full-time job while creating this passion project? We started getting asked, how you actually scale it and how you actually lead an organization, how you grow your social media. And we just realized we wanted to be able to help more women. So Melanie, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that part of it, but
well, it was a little more than a year ago. So it was probably about a year and a half. We sat on my office floor with these really big sheets of Post-it paper, actually, just like there's one behind me right now. And we started to just brainstorm. What are all the things that people keep asking us? And so we started to kind of create this idea, this business plan for Chic Influencer. And so in January of 2019, we actually made the announcement. We opened the doors for business, and we decided that we could really help other women that had a business idea launch it, grow it, and really market themselves on social media the way we had done with our network marketing businesses. And so for the past almost year now, we have been doing our podcast. We have been doing live events. We have this amazing community where we get to help other business owners navigate with the messy middle of building a business. And we've basically taken the last 7 and 8 years of being in the trenches of building our businesses and have been able to teach those systems, those strategies, what works, what doesn't work. And I feel like a lot of times it's like, hey, we made these mistakes, so don't make them again if we can kind of get to you ahead of time. And so it has been so fun to really kind of take all this knowledge and be able to help so many incredible women over the past year. So that's kind of what we do.
I love it. And I love that you called it the messy middle, because that's really what it is. It is messy. So I would love for you guys to share, like, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing newer entrepreneurs who are getting their ideas out there? What are the mistakes that they're making, and how are you kind of helping them move through those?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I went off the top of my head. I would say And we were just kind of talking about this earlier today, actually. It's just that, and I made this mistake. Like when I first launched my business, I was kind of casting this really big net of people that I could help. And I was so generic in the way that I approached my business that I wasn't like speaking to my audience. And it wasn't until I actually tried to run and launch a group that I was running and I got nobody to join that I took this kind of step back and I was like, I don't think I'm actually speaking to my ideal person. And that was really when I started to understand this concept of having a niche, and having your ideal audience and your target. And people really have a hard time with that. And they just speak so general that they really aren't actually speaking to the right person. And that's something that I see people make, and they're like afraid to be vulnerable and share their story, on social media. And those are things that are really important in order for you to thrive as a business owner.
Yeah. I kind of think of it like this. So when my husband goes and he buys a pair of jeans, he knows exactly what size to get, and he gets his Levi's and life goes on and he's totally fine. But when I go to get a pair of jeans, I have to visualize what those jeans are going to look like on my body. I have to really think about the feel of them, the cut of them, how I want them to look with a certain shoe, if I'm going to have to get them hems because I'm really short. I think about the color, I think about the brand, I think about everything before I go to the store and buy the jeans and try on 300 different pair before I find the right fit. Am I right about this? Like when it comes to jeans, like when you find the right pair of jeans, you're like, this is my love. I am so in love with these jeans, and you're like, ain't nothing getting between me and these jeans.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of marketing, I think a lot of people go at it like my husband. I'm just going to get a pair of Levi's. I'm just going to get somebody to purchase my product. I'm just going to get somebody to see my post. I'm just going to get somebody to, maybe get down with what I'm putting out there. But if we really want to get good at our craft, and I mean legit good at our craft, and I call it a craft because that's what social media marketing is. It's a skill, it's an art form, it's your voice. You have to know exactly who you can speak well to. You have to know exactly how you can make that person feel. You have to know exactly how the words that you put out there in the universe are going to resonate with the person you're putting them out to. And that means where we think we're just going to put it out in the universe and I'm just going to hope that somebody sees it, we got to laser focus. And we have to know exactly who we're talking to. When we know who that person is, we know we can make them, feel good. We know we can serve them effectively. We know that our products or our services are just made for them.
Mic drop, you guys. This is a huge thing that I love talking about too, because it's the foundation of everything. And I know, especially for those in the network marketing industry, they've got a great product or program and they say, well, it can help anyone. It can help all of these people. And so I see in that industry, it can become especially challenging to really figure out, well, what is my niche? What is my voice? What is my focus outside of this company? And, I think you guys are really showing up and modeling that in such a powerful way. And I'm so glad, like I'm literally sitting here like, yes, ladies, listen up. These are some top network marketers you're talking to right now who, have also built a very successful business outside of that. And I just hope you guys are really, if it hasn't landed from when I've said it and other people have said it, hopefully it's landing today that, you really need to have a clear focus on who you are speaking to. And I think there is a fear behind that because I'm always looking at, well, what is the belief or fear that's driving that belief? And it really is like, I don't want to leave anyone out. Beggars can't be choosers. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you guys to speak to that a little bit of like why that's not the way to think about it or approach it.
I mean, okay, so when I get that because I've been there before, but I feel like there's somebody out there for everyone. So I know that sure, I could serve the woman that has a new baby, but I know that my friend that just had a new baby that is also doing what I'm doing could probably serve her so much better because they're at the exact same point in their life. But I really can help a woman who is running a business and has school-aged children and is trying to juggle marriage and kids and businesses. And I feel like that's where I can step into my gift and be able to share that. And when I stay in that lane and
Mhm.
I'm sharing those kinds of tips every single week, I'm actually attracting those people to me.
Mhm.
And I'm serving them really, really well. And I feel good about that. And I walk away feeling like I'm doing my job, and I really don't feel like I'm leaving anybody out. And there are billions of people in this world. There is more than enough people that are just like me to go around. There is no lack of people to help. They're out there, but it's not the first time they hear your message. It's not the second time they hear your message. It's not even the third or the 10th or the 20th. It's the 100th time
Yeah.
that you tell that kind of that same story in a different way, that you start attracting the right kinds of people. And to me, that's what makes me feel fulfilled, is that I know I'm connecting with the right people that I can really truly serve.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's also abundance, don't you think? I mean, it's really about abundance. If you truly believe in the product or the service that you provide, it doesn't matter if you feel like somebody else can better serve somebody than you. So, for example, Melanie and I, we collaborate a lot. And I know for a fact there's been times people have purchased in the network marketing side through Melanie and vice versa. And it's not because we stink at what we do, it's simply because there's a connection. And sometimes you are just more connected to somebody else. I'm going to give you another example that's a little bit it's a little bit out there, out in space, sort of in the thought, but right now in the Christian community, Kanye West is making some moves right now, and he's talking a lot about how his beliefs, and he's talking about his service, and he's talking about music, and he's talking about all of these things, when really all Kanye is doing is almost like setting up the handshake. Kind of think of it like, have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother? And so if you've ever watched the show, Barney is always like, have you met Ted? Like, have you met my best friend? And then Barney kind of slowly fades out just a little bit. And so Ted is left there like looking at someone like, hi, I'm Ted. And so sometimes all we do is set up the handshake, right? We don't necessarily have to be the person that provides the service to someone, but we have to feel good about the fact that we introduced them to something that we believe in, whether or not they purchase from us. And that takes a lot of mindset shifts. It takes a lot of like just this idea that abundance exists, and the good you put out into the universe is gonna come back, whether it's just right in that moment from that one person, or it's just eventually it's going to happen.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think what you just said, being a connector,
Yeah.
there is like a reciprocity just from connecting two people. When you give someone to someone else, they're like, how can I help you? Who can I connect you with? Who can I send your way? And I think sometimes when newer entrepreneurs in particular are in the trenches and they're feeling that scarcity, it can be a little bit blinding, and they're not able to access the thoughts and the possibility that, oh, this is my highest level of service in this moment.
Yeah,
Being that connector. Yeah.
absolutely.
I love it. So for you guys too, you know, you've really built these two amazing businesses, and I work with a lot of women who are either in network marketing or who have transitioned out, and they're kind of building their own coaching business. And I see a lot of people approaching it from this like very black and white, all or nothing. And I'm always telling my network marketing clients, you know, don't just walk away from that. Don't walk away from that revenue and that business that you've built. You can have more than one thing. Most millionaires have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are navigating that beautifully. So I would just really love to hear what that transition, or not even that transition, like what that next level of expansion really looked like. I know you shared a little bit about, you know, kind of exploring those ideas on the office floor. What were some of the next steps in actually birthing this into the world?
Oh my. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
there's so many levels. And you know, Katie and I will have these conversations and we'll sit. So we were like, gosh, it's so hard to explain the transition. And I'm going to use the Tanya Dalton example. So Tanya Dalton wrote the book, The Joy of Missing Out. And we had interviewed her on our podcast, and she talked about steering a ship. So when you are making a transition, it's not like all of a sudden you are like, plot twist, going to go this direction, right? It's kind of like you're slowly turning the ship in this direction to get to where you want to go. And it's like, I know where I want to be and I can see the vision for my end goal. But in order to get there, I have to take these small little calculated movements in the right direction. And so 2019, 2018 has been Katy and I embracing what we knew was going to be a little uncomfortable. What we knew was going to be a little hard, because we still had to have two businesses. So we were ramping one and we still have another one going. And so this whole year we've leaned into the fact that it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. And so we've been making these shifts, but I will say that it wasn't like, oh, the grass is greener over here, so let's just, move over here. It was very much like, we see the gifts that we have learned, we have implemented, we have grown from, all of the things that we've experienced, we see how it can serve other people. And the network marketing business is really strong, right? So like our foundation is strong. We felt comfortable saying we're ready to start something new, but it has been an uncomfortable pivot, an uncomfortable steering of the ship to where we really see that we can make just a bigger impact and help more people.
And I really want to make sure that we clarify too. It's more like it's in addition to work.
Right. Yeah. That's why I said not transition, but expansion.
Yeah. Expansion, right? So the one thing that I notice a lot of people they talk about is, when you start in network marketing, there's this learning curve. So you spend time getting to know your catalog. You spend time learning how to serve your clients. You spend time learning about how you can extend your sales to those clients and extend your client base. And then you start to build a team. And as you start to build a team, you become a stronger leader. And as you become a stronger leader, you start to notice your organization growing. And notice that takes time. That isn't an overnight thing. And Melanie and I found ourselves in a position where we felt pretty good about who we were serving, how we were leading, what our organizations looked like, that it was just like the next step. It was like one next step. And we realize now we are getting a lot of those questions from people about, well, how do you start? And the very first thing I would say is feel good about where you are. Mm-hmm. And it's not a grass is greener approach. It really is. If you think that it's going to be easier, you're totally wrong. It's just going to be that the work that you have learned over an amount of time, or what the lessons that you've learned and all the plot twists and all of the setbacks that you've had, lend themselves to being better at what you're creating over here too. So I mean, we wouldn't have been able to start this even 2 years ago. I think we've talked about it. It's like even 2 years ago, we wouldn't have been ready. We just weren't at that level of leadership where we felt like it was time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what you guys said about really having that solid foundation in one business before going and creating a second one, I think that's a really important thing that I just want to punctuate for everybody listening right now, because I've had some conversations with a few people over the last couple of weeks, even on Instagram. Just the other day, I was talking to someone and she said, I've got 5 different businesses that I'm building at once, but none of them were successful. And I said, okay, well, are any of them successful? She said, no, I'm putting about, 20% into each of them. And I'm trying to build all these bridges to my destination. I said, well, if, you then end up with 5 bridges that are 20% finished, but none actually get you the result that you want. So, I think what you guys are really modeling and showing people is like, you can have all these other things. You can build multiple streams of income. You can have different style businesses. And in order to make one successful, you really want to have your full focus and attention on that one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something else too, even as taking all the years of experience in network marketing, we both said to ourselves, there's no way humanly possible we can do all of this alone. Right. So even from day one, we went into it with an investment mindset. We invested money into hiring people and putting them in the right position so that it would allow us the time to do the things that only we could do.
Mhm.
And I mean, we couldn't do what we do with Chic without Kate, who is our admin. I mean, she does the newsletters and all of the things that go out, managing our community way better than we could ever do. And Alyssa helps us with social media and story, like it takes a team. And that is something that we got smart about, that when I started network marketing, I was like, no, I'll do it all. And I can be all of the pieces. And so that's just like, through the process of growing network marketing, we realized what we wanted and didn't want, and how we wanted this to look differently, which is allowing us to grow it and scale a little faster because we have that understanding today.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that you guys are building a team right out the gate, because I do see a lot of people very resistant to that. And I think it comes from a couple of different places potentially, but the biggest one that I see coming up for people is that there's like this badge of honor, especially in the network marketing space, of like, no, it has to all be me. If my team knew that I had support making that Canva graphic that gave them all a shout out on their, weekly wins, they would be mortified and they would be mad at me. And I'm just like, what? Like who says who? Like there's so much story and ego, and like, where are these things coming from? Get the support you need and model that for your team. Show them that they can get support too. So, I mean, I would love for you guys to just speak about that. Like what could that possibly look like for even a network marketer?
So I think there's a couple things that need to be taken into consideration. A lot of people, and network marketing is so great because anyone can come into network marketing and give it a go. Sometimes when you come into network marketing and you're like, I'm just gonna give it a go, you're not really in it as a CEO. You're not really in it as a business owner. And that's just setting you up for failure. So from day one in network marketing, we really did look, and I'm talking 7.5 years ago, I looked at it as a business. And the only thing I wanted from the business was to get the groceries paid for. And for Melanie, when she came in, I remember thinking long before, and I know this now in hindsight, she was making that much income doing it. She held herself and carried herself in a way that said, I am a boss. I am a CEO. This is my business. And I would have never known that she really was just making very baseline income at that time. And I learned over the next couple of years that every time I set goals for myself, I had to level up as a business owner. And that meant making some investments. Now, at full disclosure, I never went in the red. And I still am a firm believer to never go in the red for your business. And when we opened Chic, we weren't going to go in the red. We made an investment, but we knew immediately that that investment, we were going to pay ourselves back through that. And so I would encourage you to ask yourself as a network marketer, like, what is my goal? And am I serious about hitting that goal, or am I just kind of sort of interested? Are you playing with the business, or are you in the business for the real deal? So if you ask yourself your intentions with the business, you can't be mad if your intentions aren't being met. You can't be mad if you're not doing the work that it's going to take to hit those goals. So clarify that. If you're just in it for a little extra income, well, own that. And it's okay to treat it like that. But if you're like, I want to make this my job, I want to make this a 6-figure thing, I want to make this, I want to be the top in my organization, get real with yourself and say, what's it really going to take to get there? And I can tell you right now, if you're doing it by yourself, you're not going to get there. You're not. Or you're going to burn out. And we can speak about burnout in a whole different podcast.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's so much to unpack within that. And I think too, what you're saying with, team building, it's not just about, bringing on virtual assistants, but it's also leveraging the team that you're building.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many people who are in the, that's the different style of leadership where it's like, oh, it all has to come from me and I have to do all the videos and I have to have all the ideas. And I mean, just the way that you guys showed up as a team in your organization, like you guys are just showing people like, hey, don't do that.
Right. But it really is shifting from that. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like that I need to do it all kind of a thing, because I need to be seen as the leader. I need to be the one, the top dog. Nobody else can get the recognition. And so it's kind of that at the beginning. And then really you begin to say, no, we're actually better together. So I could talk on that topic, but she really nails it. So I'm actually going to put her into the spotlight. And so it's then beginning to say, and we've gone both ways, right? Like I have definitely gone to the point where I needed to do every call, every video, every single week. And then I burn out. My team then feels like they have to do it all. So I'm actually setting unrealistic expectations that everybody has to do everything. And so as soon as we flipped that switch, there were big changes happened. We actually became more of a cohesive team that way when we worked together instead of separately. I don't know. One of my mentors once taught me to make this list, and this was because I didn't want to give it up. I didn't want to hire somebody. I didn't want to take the time to actually hire somebody, because I thought I can do it faster if I just do it myself than it would take me to hire somebody, train them, and then fix their initial mistakes when they do it wrong, because everybody does that when you first hire them, right? Yeah. And so I made this list of only the things I can do and the things that I could delegate. And that was how I hired my first assistant, was slowly moving things over. And it was Canva graphics. It was those Thursday recognitions. It was some of the newsletters. And I learned to be okay with it not being exactly the way I wanted it. And then sometimes they would do it even better. But that freed up even just 2 or 3 hours a week for me to then do the things that actually were higher value income producing activities. And that's what we do at Chic, right? We're focused on what are only the things that Katy and I can do. And we watch Alyssa and Kate do those other things way better than we could.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Once you start getting into team building stuff and bringing people on, I know, because I went through that, where it's that uncomfortable letting go of control, or the perception of control. And then I just remember I was at an event and I'm getting all these text messages of this girl who I'd hired to manage and grow my entire Pinterest. And she's sending me all these pictures and I'm like, oh, I didn't have to do any of this. And this is so much better than what I would have created.
I know.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've never turned back since. But I think too, just for those people listening, what you guys are talking about with training, one of the things you can do is the next time you sit down to do something that you absolutely hate doing, hit record. And record yourself doing it. You're already doing it. It's not going to take any more time. Just walk through the steps. And in any business, like if you look at a corporate business, whatever, you want to have standard operating procedures. They're called SOPs, and you can have those as training tools that you can walk people through, so that you are not continuously doing the same things over and over again, doing those 3 to 5 to 10 to 12, even $50 tasks. Your time is worth so much more than that. And if you want to get to that 6, 7, 8-figure level, without hustling your face off, you've got to start moving some things off of your plate. Like for real. Yeah. So I really love that you guys have gotten to that place where you spotlight your community and really start to bring people up so that they can really step into that level of leadership. And I know leadership in general is a challenging thing for a lot of people if they've never had any training in it or any experience actually leading. So I'm curious for you, what are like your top 2 biggest things you wish you knew about leadership when you started in network marketing?
I think I would have told myself to shut up and listen a little bit more. I think that's the biggest tip, is because so many people just want to be heard. And when I started leading, and even until recently, I would be so focused on just hearing and providing value and just telling them what to do or how to overcome an issue, when really what they wanted was just to be heard. And when you actually allow yourself to pause for a little bit of time after they've spoken, it allows you to come back and say, what I'm hearing you say is, and when you have that moment of pause and clarity, it allows them to think and reflect back on what they've spoken out to you, so that they can internalize it a little bit too. And I really think that that's the biggest advice I have for people, is don't be so in a rush to give an answer. Slow yourself down and hear the needs of your people. hear the concerns, hear the issues, but you have to slow down to do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And I will say for me personally, leadership is lonely. I think sometimes, and even I had that false perception of when I get to this rank, when I get to this income level, when I have a team of this size, that everything will be easier, that my problems will go away, that, and what I found is my problems just changed. But who I was when I started my business and the challenges that I faced actually prepared me for the next level of leadership and for the challenges that I was going to face. So I think as you are, and now I think about it very differently as I talk to Katy and as we talk through what our goals are for the next year, the next 5 years, I'm always asking myself, so what are going to be the challenges at that level that I'm wishing for? And am I okay with stepping into that? Is that the kind of business I want to have? And having that clarity of, okay, I'm going to have to start preparing myself for that level. Is that what I truly want? Because otherwise we can kind of get there and some people don't realize it. And then they are like, no, this is not what I want at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's big. I mean, really going into that place where I mean, the scariest thing is to create a goal, not really do a gut check, and then realize it's not where you wanted to be. And it's like, what have I created?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you guys ever been in that position where you've had to like position? Because I think a lot of people are, and people don't necessarily talk about it that much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can totally talk about it, and I didn't know it until I walked through it. So again, it goes back to, you are going to have to experience setbacks in your business for you to rise and become the leader you're meant to. And for me personally, I remember setting a goal to push for a really high rank in our organization in network marketing. And I went about it all the wrong ways. It was trudge through, push through. I was like a wrecking ball, and it was just more. And I hated the way I felt when I achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
When I achieved it, I remember feeling drained. I remember feeling lonely. I remember feeling like it was just me. It wasn't like a team thing. And I remember saying, I will never do this again because I didn't like the way it felt. Felt like I was doing it for me, and I hate that feeling. And I made a decision right there that I wouldn't push towards goals that were focused on me. And that had to be it was probably like 3 years ago. And to this day, I've still stayed really, really true to that. And so I shifted the way I ran my business. I shifted the way I started focusing more on income-based goals versus rank-based goals. I started saying, are you chasing the cause or are you chasing the carrots? And the more carrots were put in front of me, if they weren't aligned with my cause, then I didn't chase after them. And to this day, I'm pretty straightforward about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So powerful.
So I think for me, it was really kind of just stepping into leadership and building this team of powerhouses. And I think I just had this false perception that everything was always perfect and nothing was ever going to go wrong. And I kind of have had this climb in my business where everything went really, really well. And then all of a sudden, and it was very much like I was trying to create all these independent leaders. It was kind of at that point in my business where I was like, everybody needs to be doing their own thing. And so I was pushing that hard. And I think I had good intentions because I was trying to empower people and equip them to be great leaders. But we all became very distant in that process. And there was this 1 year where we did this leadership retreat. And I knew that things were rocky. I knew that people were not sure if they were going to stay, if they were going to go. And so I kind of did this thing where I was like, I just want to save everyone. And I just want everybody to come to this retreat. And it's going to be great. Everybody's going to feel the love. They're going to know that they can be successful at this. And it totally backfired on me. And actually a few people that were there went in with the intention to recruit my team out of that event. And for me, that was the last time I ever did something in an effort to try to save everyone. And I realized what a bad business decision I made. So I invested all this money into bringing all these people in and creating this great experience, when instead I should have been focused on, okay, who are the right people in the room? Who are the people that are matching my effort and matching my intensity? Who are the people that have the same core values? Who are the people that have a vision, and not to like dumb down requirements, you know? So for me, it was really, and I became very aware of, like, that's when the whole idea of being aware of my energy level began to happen. Like, who's matching my energy, who's sucking my energy, who's giving me energy. And so from that point on, I, number one, realized that community was way more important than anything else, than us all achieving our goals. It was the people, their stories, and their purpose. That was number one. But then I also began to say, okay, it is not my job to heal, to save, to, you know, drag people. I have to be able to let it go. Right? I have to let some people go, and I have to make sure that I'm careful about where I'm investing my time. Otherwise, I'm the one that sort of takes the brunt of it in the end. And so it was kind of after that things really shifted, and our community got stronger. We started collaborating more, and we started to realize that we had the right people. And so the last 2 years, we've walked away from events and anything we've done feeling like, yeah, these are great people with great hearts, and, you know, and they're the right people. And so it was a very hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But it really has equipped me with some great, I don't know, just great skills because of that.
Oh, these are so powerful. And I really, really appreciate you guys sharing these, because this is the stuff that, you know, this is the hard stuff. And I hear these things, and I hope that the people listening right now can allow this to land and allow it to resonate. And some of you guys listening might have to go through this in your own business, because, you know, just listening to it and hearing it isn't quite enough. But I think really adding to this, what you guys are sharing is like, especially Katy, what you were saying, some of this stuff, I remember when I had first, a couple years ago, did my very first like 6-figure launch of a program, like just in one shot. And I remember a friend calling me and going, so how do you feel? Do you feel different? And I was like, no, but I thought that I would. I thought that I would have this thing and all of a sudden be like, oh, now I'm a leader. Now I'm successful. Now I have all this, like, but I felt no different. And it was because of how I got there. There was so much hustle and so much heavy energy moving toward that. And I remember hearing something called a Pyrrhic victory. And it's essentially a victory. I'm going to read it directly off of Wikipedia here. Is a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor, that it's like, it was about this guy who went to war, had multiple, many casualties, and people said, are you going to go to war again? And he said, no, because the loss is too great.
Yeah.
And I think for so many entrepreneurs, we learn that lesson the hard way, that success, as Tony Robbins says, success without fulfillment isn't, it isn't success. Yeah.
Right. Just learn how to battle for your business differently after you've had a fall like that, after you've had and I call it a fall because although it was a success, it was a significant bonus. It looked shiny and pretty. The inside didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking, I never want to feel this way again. And so one of the things that I shifted right after that was just our team philosophy is we don't have the right to make an income if we aren't making an impact. And I keep that at the forefront of my mind now when I recruit people into my organization, when I recruit, people into my groups to support them, or even in Chic Influencer, Melanie and I always go back to, is this actually going to serve people? Every decision we make goes, is this going to actually serve people? Because if it's not going to serve them, I want nothing to do with it. I don't care how rich it would make me. I don't care how much money I would make from it. Unless I am serving, I'm not going to feel good. And I want to feel really, really good in my business.
And that's why I so vibe with you guys, because I love that as a core value. I'm like, yes. It's a great litmus test though. Is it serving people? Because if not, no, I'm not doing it.
Not one more time. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So good. I love this so much. So I would love for you guys to share, where can people go to learn more about you, to connect with you, and just get to be in your energy, part of your tribe?
Oh my gosh, there's lots of places. So
Yeah.
you can follow us on Instagram. That's where we thrive the most. So it's Chic Influencer is our handle there. We also have a podcast. So the Make Chic Happen podcast, we launch an episode every Thursday. And we have a website, chicinfluencer.com, where you can come check out all of the resources and opportunities to connect or work with us are all listed there.
Awesome. And we're going to link all of that up for you guys in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners that would make this feel complete?
I'm looking at Mel. Mel's looking at myself.
Any last words of wisdom?
I mean, last words of wisdom. Wherever season that you are in right now, instead of saying that this is so hard, this was something that Katy and we were at a conference, and I had actually been rolling this around in my brain for a little bit of time. And so for all of 2019, we were like, oh, this is such a hard transition. This is so hard. And I looked at her and I was like, we have to stop saying this is hard. I go, because we're actually focusing on the hard instead of focusing on what such a blessing and a gift that our voices and our experience have given us, and how we're going to be able to use this for other people. And the minute we shifted that school of thought, I have felt a shift in our energy and the way we do chic. And I actually have goosebumps as I'm saying this right now. But wherever you're at, the listeners right now are at in your business, shift that perspective. If you are focusing on what's hard, what's challenging, what isn't going your way, you're just going to keep running right into that. If you begin to see the glimmers of hope, the opportunities, the collaborations, look at the conversations right in front of you. Doors are going to continue to open for you in your business and the vision that you have, and it's going to fly.
Yeah.
And I can't guarantee it'll happen today or tomorrow, but I promise you, if you keep your eyes aligned to what is possible and the opportunities, everything will fall into place. And the hard is not against you, it's actually for you.
Perfect. So good. Well, guys, I know that you absolutely loved this episode. If you did, be sure to screenshot the show and tag us over on Instagram stories at HeyJenCasey and at Chic Influencer, so that we can continue the conversation with you and chat with you more over there. So again, thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.